Happy Friday. Waiting for some folks to join us. Another day, another dollar. It's gloomy today. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I like sunshine. But it's spring, so it's expected. April showers bring May flowers, right? So let's hope for some sunshine and flowers. This weekend's going to be pretty great. Perfect time to get outside, connect with nature. I think it's going to be sunny. It's going to be pretty warm. Hey guys. Hey Karina. I see a couple of folks are joining us. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Friday? Yeah. My phone might fall. I have it like propped up with random objects and it might fall. I didn't feel like holding it today. My computer, I don't like the quality of the camera. I don't know. The phone seems to come out better. Anyway, so how's everyone's week going? How are you guys doing managing the day-to-day? Hi. Yeah. My week's been really busy. A lot of virtual meetings, a lot of phone calls, a lot of trying to plan and do work stuff. Neff, hi. Hi, beautiful. Glad you're joining. Hi, Lori. All these faces. I love it. This makes me so excited. All these incredible people. So I've been doing a lot of work this week, and I'm saying Zoom meetings and things, and Zoom, right, the new buzzword. A couple of things happened, actually. One was, I guess, so Zoom meetings are getting hacked. I know mutual aid meetings are getting hacked. So please practice caution. There's some guidelines that have been put out around how to stay safe. Homeschooling. Neff, I give you so much credit. I've seen one of those memes that this is a good time to not have kids, and that's like no disrespect at all, but I could barely keep these dogs from killing each other. I don't know what the heck to do if I had to homeschool. You're the real MVP, guys. All the parents home with their kids. But yeah, so Zoom meetings are getting hacked, and people are saying some really, really hurtful and hateful things. And the other, that brings me to sort of the topic I want to talk about, which is stigma. A friend of mine sent me some articles from a journal, these researchers looking into stigma and how that affects the perception of addiction. Or those with substance use disorder. And there were some really interesting things. It's things we all kind of know, you know. So there's three kind of areas of stigma. It's structural and systemic. It's communal stigma. And it's also personal stigma, internal stigma. Brandon, Maribel, get fit. Hello. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining. We're talking about stigma. And I was thinking a lot as I'm working on kind of a project or an idea of sorts to do some work with those who have substance use disorder, kind of a crisis, provide them support during this time. And I'm thinking about community perception of those with substance use disorder. I'm thinking of the ways in which we are systemically marginalized, systemically kind of thrown away. I talked about it a little bit yesterday, seeing some of the social media or the news around those that are homeless or with substance use disorder or mental health, and how they're really not getting their needs met, and that's an understatement. There's this idea about, less than, unworthy. And sometimes it's just between the lines. It might not be blatant or outwardly, but you feel it. I was actually giving a presentation, this was some months ago, to a group of doctors. And it was a really great presentation. We talked about really important things. A lot of people presented. It was just, and this is not a reflection at all on the doctors or the medical community, but one of the folks in the room, and administrators and those within the healthcare field, when I was finished with the presentation, he looked at me and he said, "Good job," and he did that thing with his finger, and I just felt so small. And I don't think he was outwardly trying to hurt me. It's just these little sort of body language, little words here and there. It just made me feel so small, and it made me think of that internal stigma. I hear folks in the profession, right, peers, certified peer recovery advocates say, "I'm just a peer." And that it's like a dagger, right? Because just a peer, you are a peer. You know better than most folks in the field, right? Our lived experience is our greatest asset. My friend Stephanie from Stephanie Campbell works for Oasis now. She always says, "Nothing about us without us." Making decisions about our lives, about our care, about our recovery is up to us, right? We need to use person first language. We need to use, we need to treat folks in a recovery oriented system of care. And what that means is we are the expert on our own recovery. And no one should ever tell you what to do. They just shouldn't, and this is coming from my background is in social work, and I was not, I was guilty of this too. I would tell clients years and years ago, you should do this, you should follow this trajectory, and that's no longer the case. And we're learning and we're growing and we're developing in this field. But the stigma is still so alive and well. And it's there in the community. It's there in the medical profession and in the treatment providers, Sometimes we could be a hard bunch to work with. But that's something that needs to be addressed because it's a barrier. It's a barrier to care. It's a barrier to access. If I feel less than, if I feel shame, right? And addiction, just by its very nature, is a shaming, right? Kind of disease. I'm my own worst enemy. It's a disease of isolation. It's a disease of shame. There's so much stigma attached to it. So if I'm full of shame, if I'm afraid, if I don't know, people's reactions, I tend to hide, right? And in active use, that's a really dangerous thing. That isolation, the sense of I'm unworthy, I'm defective, and just fill in the blank, all the negative things that we tell ourselves, right? Leads us to isolation, which leads us to use on our own, which leads to really, really dangerous things, horrible, tragic things to happen. So in order to really address the stigma, we have to use, I mentioned person first kind of language, and empowering language to really challenge those misconceptions, challenge the ways in which people view those in recovery. I'm not a throwaway. None of us are, right? We're not throwaways. We're worthy. We're enough. We're such incredible, powerful, resilient people. Brandon, Cindy, Jess, Karen, good to see you guys. I see all these wonderful folks joining. No, you made my night. So thinking about this stigma, and obviously it's not just for those that have substance use disorder. I mentioned those Zoom meetings. And there was a situation I heard of where whoever kids, I don't know, broke into or joined a Zoom meeting and just said horrible, hurtful, stigmatizing, racist, just morally wrong things to people in this meeting. And this is happening more and more. And it just brings me back to this divide, right? We have this I don't know, as of late, there's a divide of like us and them, right? There's so much hate. There's so much hate in this world, but there's also so much love, and there's so much beauty, and we're all living proof. We're all living proof of how beautiful life can be, and how full life can be, and how much fun we can have. Aw, thanks, Karen. I miss you tons. But yeah, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart when I hear these horrible things said about people, because I believe that people are good. You know, at our core, we are good. You know, we're not born evil, and not saying that these people are evil, but you know, how do these folks, like, how injured, how hurt have they been to have such hate in their hearts? And I truly feel bad for them, you know, to walk around suffering with so much pain and so much anger. You know, I used to be that way in active addiction. I was just angry at the world. I didn't want to be part of it. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt that same stigma, right, that I kind of felt around me is the stigma I showed myself, because I didn't think that I would shrink. You know, I call it shrinking. Someone in authority, be it pretty much everyone, because at the time I thought everyone was better than me, right? Anyone in authority, or even in early recovery, someone would say something and I would shrink. I would like revert, you know, regress even to like a child. Like I didn't know anything, you know, I was just useless, dumb, whatever, fill in the blank again, right? And as I grew, and as I developed, right, in my recovery, I developed a voice, I developed confidence, I developed community, and I won't shrink anymore, you know. I don't have to walk around in pain. I don't have to walk around angry. And I think it's so beautiful. I see Steph said that's why I stopped going to meetings. And I think that's so beautiful, because there are now options. There are so many different things you can do for your recovery. Because way back when, right, not even that long ago, that was the only thing. You go to detox, you go to rehab, you go to outpatient, you go to meetings. If you don't follow that exact trajectory, you're going to fail. You're doing it wrong, right? And there's no right or wrong way to get sober, so long as you enter recovery, right? So meetings work for some, mutual aid meetings. They don't work for everyone. There's other modes of recovery. Steph wrote, I didn't feel the connection and was judged for not knowing the rules. There are a lot of different experiences. And that's why in today's world, it's so important to continue to advocate, right? Advocate for all these multiple pathways. Abstinence-based, harm reduction, spiritual approaches, mutual aid meetings. There are Buddhist meetings. There are all sorts of different meetings, you know, and just different pathways. There's a fitness pathway, right? I think that scares people, that there are multiple pathways. Yeah. And that's all about the stigma, right? There's stigma within our own community, too. There's stigma around medication-assisted therapies. There's stigma about multiple pathways within our community. So that's where our voices come in, right? Spreading that awareness. When we show our faces and we share about our recovery and we're open and what works for us, we give folks the opportunity to come out and talk about their recovery, to reach out, to feel accepted no matter what their pathway is, to not feel judged, to not feel stigmatized. Because there's so much hate out there, and for us to do it to one another, it's just unacceptable. Hey, sorry. Brotherly, sisterly love there. I say this sometimes, or a lot of times I talk about being kind. And it sounds so simple, I've done like, I don't know, presentations or outreach, and they're like, what's your message? Oh no, this is not the time for squeaky toys. And my message is like, just be kind to everyone you meet. We need to stop the hate, stop the judgment, stop this almost like self-centered way of living, right? That we're the only ones going through what we're going through. We're the only ones that are in a rush to get somewhere or have these plans for the day, and everyone else throw something at them. Hazel, stop. They literally wait till I'm doing something like a meeting or this to start bringing out the squeaky toys or wrestling or whatever they're doing. What was I saying? No, I lost my train of thought. Someone quick, send a comment. Oh, be kind. Okay, got it. Sorry, guys. Just being like kind to everyone we meet. We don't know what kind of struggle that person is having. We don't know if that one kind word is going to change that person's day, is going to stop them from being in pain, is going to stop them from self-harm, from anything, right? It's really about just being, right? Being kind, being loving, practicing compassion and tolerance. There's so much intolerance out there within our community, outside of our community, and there's just no place for that here. There's just no room for stigma. There's no room for shame. There's no place for judgment of anyone's recovery or how they choose to go about recovery. So it's up to us, right? It's always, I say that a lot because we have power. We are the ones that can make these changes. We are the ones that can shatter this stigma. It's got to come from us, right? Nothing about us without us. We need to tell our communities, we need to tell others what we need, right? What the recovery community needs. Because otherwise, how will anyone know, right? And how will they provide the things that we need? So as we head into the weekend, I don't know if you guys had busy weeks or if you have plans for the weekends, but weekends I've noticed are more challenging for folks. But I offer up some self-compassion to really, I've mentioned before I've suggested rather for folks to keep track of the way in which you talk to yourself, the way in which you treat yourself, and practicing some self-compassion around that, allowing yourself to be human, allowing yourself to just be. If you're struggling, if you're in pain, if you're happy, those are natural emotions. Just because we're feeling an unpleasant feeling doesn't make it wrong, right? There's this like right and wrong, this black and white. If it's wrong, we have to fix it, right? But we don't. We have to walk through it. We have to walk through it. We don't need to push it away. It's part of the human condition. It's part of humanity. So as you walk through this weekend, practice some self-compassion. Show yourself some love. Treat yourself well. I'm having another date night with the puppies tonight. Was it last weekend? I don't remember if it was Friday or Saturday, but I'm going to watch some Netflix, light some candles, open my fridge for the 5,000th time today, and just practice some self-compassion, because in my head there's a tally, there's a list of all the things I could be doing. All the things I could be doing around the house, all the work things I could be doing. I could give the dogs a bath, I could finish painting, I could clean, I could check emails, blah, 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 blah. And I'm purposely pushing all of that away. And just focusing on being here and being present. And taking good care of myself, right? If you could do one nice thing for yourself each day, and that might be putting on a pair of jeans, it might be getting dressed, Because sometimes when you look good, you feel good, right? Maybe doing your makeup, maybe not. Maybe styling your hair, maybe not. I don't know what that looks like for everyone. But if you can do one small thing for yourself each and every day, that'll make a world of difference. I promise you that. So I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, wonderful Friday night. We have a ton of really cool things planned. As always, Brian Quinn's 9 a.m. boot camp, virtual boot camp, tomorrow at 9. Tune in. If you don't tune in, don't worry. The videos stay on the Facebook page. We have Lisa's writing group is Sunday, which is pretty cool. And it's actually going to be a Zoom meeting afterwards, just as a hangout, post the Facebook Live writing group. So that'll be fun. We have our schedule posted. We're actually going to be adding some things, so stay tuned. We'll have that up real soon. And reach out. Ask for help. If you want self-care tips, we could brainstorm together. If you want tips to practice self-compassion, reach out. We can do that together as well. And you're not alone. So you could message us through Facebook. For those that may not know, my name is Yana Cashburn. I'm on Facebook too. You could reach out to me. You could email us. You could... I think that's it. So, reach out. Holly, where can I find the full schedule? Perfect. On the main Facebook page, it's pinned to the top of the page, and it shows all the Facebook Live feeds that we're doing, all the different groups, all the different events. We're actually going to be putting up a new one shortly. We have some more offerings. We have I forgot what I called it. Come Zoom with us. It's kind of just like an open hangout on Zoom. That's starting this week, Wednesdays at 6:30. And I'll be there. Some of the staff will be there. We'll be hanging out, just kind of chatting and building and cultivating our connections. So reach out. I'm here. I'll be around. Happy Friday night. Hope everyone enjoys their night. And I shall see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.